Hello kindergarten, first and second grade teachers. As all of you know, we've hired 11 interventionists this year thanks to Prop R. And this video is just going to go over the job descriptions and responsibilities of the interventionist. I just want to make sure all teachers are on the same page with the job description and the role, and make sure that we have consistent implementation across the district. The interventionist will instruct K-2 elementary students in literacy instruction, and this aligns with our district strategic plan to get all third graders reading at grade level by the end of third grade. They will develop and deliver lesson plans appropriate to the needs and abilities of assigned students. They actually just went through 2 days of training and have reviewed and understand the components of Jan Richardson's pre-A, emergent, early, and transitional guided reading, and they also know the structure of a strategy lesson. They will be using those types of instructional methods when working with students in your classroom. The interventionist will flexibly work with all students in the classroom, and this will change on a rotating basis. So for example, you as a classroom teacher will assign them 5 students for a rotation of 2 or 3 weeks, and they'll work with those 5 students, and then after that rotation is up, you will assign them a different set of 5 students. So you will assign them the low students, the medium students, and the high students at some point in that rotation. The rotation can either be 2 or 3 weeks long. The instruction will also take place in your classroom. So the interventionist will be assigned a time and will come in and work either at a table, set of desk, or even possibly on the ground to work with students. The interventionist will also maintain thorough running records and anecdotal notes for the assigned students that you give them, and they will be sharing that data with you. They were even trained on how to take running records and anecdotal notes and record standards-based grading data, so that way when they give the data back to you, you'll have that information for your records as well. The communication tool that we're going to be using district-wide with kindergarten, first, and second grade teachers looks like this. It's folders that are combed together, and you will have a library pocket folder on the front, and you'll put your index cards of the student names that the interventionist will be working with. And you'll put a post-it here for student number 1, student number 2, student number 3. And when you give this communication folder to your interventionist, you'll have data in it. So you may share a sight word checklist for that student, a guided writing journal, a past running record. If you're kindergarten, you may have letter ID or sound ID, basically any data that you want the interventionist to know, so that way they can plan their instruction. This will go to the interventionist for that 2 or 3 weeks, and then they will give it back to you with all of their running records and anecdotal notes, as well as sight word checklist or letter sound checklist, whatever they've been working on, with a summary of that data. So that way when you get this back, you will then be able to pick up where they left off. We are suggesting that the classroom teacher and the interventionist share this data and talk about it at the end of the rotation. So it could be as simple as at the end of reading workshop on Friday, the interventionist and the classroom teacher meet for 5 minutes during that workshop time to go over the data and share those strengths and weaknesses, so that way each teacher can then plan their instruction for Monday. The interventionist will also provide input to teams regarding students' academic strengths and weaknesses, and that could include them attending grade level meetings or parent meetings as needed. The principal and the interventionist will be working to develop a schedule that allows the interventionist to push into all K-2 classrooms on a daily basis. This should be a 30-minute time slot, and it also should be when the students are independent reading. If your time slot for the interventionist is not during independent reading, you may have to be flexible and teach your mini lesson halfway through the workshop or at the end of the workshop to make sure your kids are independent reading during that time when the interventionist is in your classroom. If you have any questions about the interventionist role, please feel free to contact me.